somebody. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Let me call to order the Metropolitan Development Commission public meeting of July 6, 2022. We will have 6 commissioners on hand. One is coming into the meeting at any moment, but we have 5, which is a quorum, which we can begin. Let us start the meeting. Counselor, would you come to the podium and lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Counselor. Members of the Commission, you have been provided to you previously the minutes of the June 15, 2022 meeting. Are there any additions or deletions to those minutes? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion to approve. Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Show the minutes passed. Moving forward. Nancy, can you read into the record the resolutions for today's meeting?
Yes, thank you, President Dillon. Resolution number 2022-R024 authorizes DMD to convey title or an option to purchase 10 properties to Intend Indiana Incorporated for the sale prices listed on Exhibit A of the resolution in consideration of certain commitments to be made by to Intend Indiana Incorporated for the purpose of providing neighborhood redevelopment. Resolution number 2022-E031 amends the Greater Martindale Brightwood Housing Redevelopment Area and Consolidated Fall Creek Citizens Redevelopment Area and establishes 2 separate allocation areas within the Greater Martindale Brightwood Redevelopment Area, the Monon 32 allocation area and the Domino allocation area. Resolution number 2022-FS002 authorizes DMD to amend the professional services agreement with Resultant LLC by increasing the compensation by $30,000 with a new not to exceed amount of $80,000 for leadership development and staff training. Resolution number 2022-HP001 for public hearing, adoption of the amended Drake Historic Area Preservation Plan into the Comprehensive Plan for Marion County. This ends the reading of the resolutions.
Thank you, Nancy. Members of the Commission, since we have a walk-on resolution number 2022-HP001, it's a walk-on resolution due to the fact that the historical IHPC, Indianapolis Historical Preservation Commission, was late getting the information to the commission. We're going to go ahead and try to walk it on today. So we have before you number 2022 HP001. This is going to have to be a 2-vote situation. A, vote to walk it on the agenda, then B, we'll move to approve the resolution itself. So I will make the proposal and the request that resolution number 2022 HP001 be added to our agenda today. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Bruce. Let me call the roll so we have an official count on the walk-on resolution. Blackburn.
Blackburn, yes.
Bruns.
Bruns, yes.
Schumacher.
Schumacher, yes.
Selm.
Selm, aye.
Westrick.
Westrick, yes.
Dillon is an aye. So resolution 2022 HP 001 is now part of our agenda of today, July 6, 2022, and it passes 6-0. We'll now look at the public hearing for resolution HP 001. Matt, who from staff is going to talk about that, please?
That would be Meg Bush.
Thank you. Members of the commission, we now are in standing for resolution number 2022 HP 001 for public hearing. This resolution designates the Drake Apartments historical area as a historical and architectural significance, and it amends the historical area, modifying the boundaries as they have been prepared for the Drake Apartments historical area. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. My name is Meg Bush. I'm the administrator of the Indianapolis Historic Preservation Commission. And as you may remember, in 2019, you were kind enough to include the Drake Apartments Historic District Area Plan into the Comprehensive Plan for Marion County. After consulting with the Children's Museum and ongoing negotiations and the replatting of that site, we had the IHPC go ahead and adopt a resolution to revise the boundaries in May of this year. And the next step in that process is to ask for your approval of this resolution this afternoon to include the amended plan into the comprehensive plan for Marion County again. So we respectfully ask for your consideration of that today.
Thank you. Would the Children's Museum please come forward? Would you please introduce yourselves and go on the record that you support this resolution, please?
Most certainly. Audra Blaisdell, Vice President of Operations for the Children's Museum.
Danae Wright, General Counsel for the Children's Museum.
And yes, we are in support of this and appreciate the cooperation of the IHPC and Metropolitan Development Commission in the approval of this amendment.
So we are in the opinion, Counselor, of the Children's Museum going in the right direction to get this matter resolved.
That's correct, sir.
Thank you very much. Anyone else from MDC staff, DMD staff want to comment, Matt?
No, we have no further comment.
Is there anyone in the room who would like to comment on this resolution? Seeing members of the commission, we have before us resolution number 2022 HP 001, designated as a walk-on resolution. Can I get a motion from Commissioner Blackburn to approve?
I move we approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Bruns, can I get a second?
Bruns, second.
Let me call the roll. Blackburn.
Blackburn, yes.
Bruns.
Bruns, yes.
Schumacher.
Schumacher, yes.
Selm.
Selm, aye.
Westrick.
Westrick, yes.
Dillon is an aye. Passes 6-0. We will now go into negotiations to see if we can't get this matter resolved. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Moving forward, we have in front of us, and let me address resolution number 2022 E031. We have a change in the parcel numbers. Is that correct, Ryan?
Thank you, President Dillon and members of the commission. Ryan Hunt with DMD. Yes, you have before you an amended resolution 2022 E031. The amendment is on Exhibit E of the packet. I apologize, I don't have the page number of your packet, but it's Exhibit E. And if you look at the fourth parcel down from the top, the original version, the published version of the resolution indicates a parcel number starting 018, and that is a Scrivener's error. You can see it there on the screen. It should say 108. That's the format, the 7-digit Marion County parcel format. Should start with a 1 when it's a Center Township parcel.
So it should be 1080748.
That's right. And you have that amendment before you. It is the same piece of real estate. It is indicated correctly in the exhibit, or various exhibits that show where the allocation area will be. It's just that parcel was in error. So we believe that if you accept the amendment, we can proceed with this, and it will be designating the correct boundary.
Thank you, Ryan. Members of the commission, in order to accept the amendment, council has advised me we need a vote. So to be clear, resolution number 2022 E031 now has Exhibit E with parcel numbers 106-6791, 108-0744, 108-0747, the amended parcel 108-0748, and 1045711. Commissioner Bruns, can I get a motion to approve that amendment?
Bruns, so moved.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Schumacher, can I get a second?
Second.
I'll now call the roll. Blackburn.
Blackburn, yes.
Bruns.
Bruns, yes.
Schumacher.
Schumacher, yes.
Selm.
Selm, I.
Westrick.
Westrick, yes.
Dillon, aye, so it's approved. The amendment is approved 6-0. We now have before us resolution number 2022 E031. Ryan, do you have any other explanations on that for the resolution?
Thank you, President Dillon. So this proposal, it does a couple of different things, but essentially the intent is to create 2 new allocation areas that will each support a project which will be located on the respective allocation area. The site is in the vicinity of 30th Street and the Monon Trail. The Monon 32 allocation area is to the west of the Monon, and the Domino allocation area is to the east of the Monon. If you approve this today, then we would proceed to the council for designation of the area and be back to the commission for a public hearing for the final approval in a few months, a month or two, I should say.
Questions for Mr. Hunt? Seeing none, we have before us resolution number 2022 E031. Commissioner Selm, can I get a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved.
Commissioner Westrick, can I get a second?
Second.
Let me call the roll. Blackburn.
Blackburn, yes.
Bruns.
Bruns, yes.
Schumacher.
Schumacher, yes.
Selm.
Selm, I.
Westrick.
Westrick, yes.
Dillon is an aye. It passes 6-0. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Moving forward, that leaves us with resolution number 2022 R024, resolution number 22 FS002. I'd like to take those together. Commissioner Westrick, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Sum, can I get a second?
I second.
Thank you. Let me call the roll. Blackburn.
Blackburn, yes.
Bruns.
Bruns, yes.
Schumacher.
Schumacher, yes.
Selm.
I.
Westrick.
Westrick, yes.
Dillon is an aye. Both resolutions pass 6-0. Let me move to our favorite section of the meeting. Are there any continuances, withdrawals, special requests?
President Dillon, members of the Commission, David Kingan with offices at 6180 East Market Street here on 2022 ZON 028, property of 4020 East 21st Street, representing the property owner Marathon Oil. We have filed a written request to continue this petition with notice to your August 17th public hearing. This site, as I explained at the last continuous request, that we are we're exploring. Now we're working through issues to expand this site to include not only the 4020 East 21st Street property, but the 3910 East 21st Street property, which is contiguous to the property to the west. And therefore, to re-advertise for the public hearing for this expanded site, we would ask for this continuance to be for the 6-week period to your August 17th public hearing and that again with additional notice.
Staff.
Thank you, President Dillon. Staff would have no objection to the continuance with notice of 2022-0N028.
Thank you, Kathleen. Is there anyone here today who wants to comment on this continuance? Seeing none, I will call the roll on 2022-0N028. May I have a motion to approve this continuance with notice to August 17th? Commissioner Bruns?
Bruns, so moved.
Blackburn, can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Let me call the roll. Commissioner Blackburn?
Blackburn, yes.
Bruns?
Bruns, yes.
Schumacher?
Schumacher, yes.
Selm?
Selm, aye.
Westrick?
Westrick, yes.
Dillon is a no. It passes 5-1. 2022-0N028 will be heard with notice on August 17th.
Thank you very much.
Are there other continuances? Withdrawals? Special requests? I know we got a couple. Kathleen?
Yes, thank you, President Dillon. Members of the Commission, staff would draw your attention to 3 petitions under petitions recommended for approval of, and they're under the no appeals portion of the docket, but we're waiting for commitments to be filed. And the first one being 2022-0N030, located at 11700 and 11850 East 38th Street and 4002 North Carroll Road. This will take a motion and a vote to continue this to the July 20th hearing.
Kathleen, since the other 2 all relate around commitments, I'm going to take them as a whole. Can you read through them?
That would be fine, thank you. The next one would be 2022-0N055, located at 4501 North Dearborn Street. And the third one would be 2022 CZN 826, located at 4101 Todd Road.
Thank you. So we have before us 3 petitions of no appeals that staff is asking for a continued motion to July 20th, 22 meeting. Is there anyone else here today who would like to comment on any one of these petitions? If not, I'm going to take 2022-0N030, 2022-0N055, 2022-CZN826 together, moving all 3 petitions of no appeal to the July 20th, 22 meeting. Commissioner Schumacher, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Commissioner Selm, can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Let me call the roll. Blackburn?
Blackburn, yes.
Bruns?
Bruns, yes.
Schumacher?
Schumacher, yes.
Selm?
Selm, aye.
Westrick?
Westrick, yes.
Dillon is an aye. All 3 have been moved to July 20th, 2022 by vote of 6-0. Other continuances?
President Dillon, members of the Commission, staff would draw your attention to the second petition under petitions for public hearing as 2021-0N125 and a variance of 2022 VAR 001, located at 4822 East Edgewood Avenue and 5820 South Emerson Avenue. Staff received an updated site plan for this, but needed some additional information related to the livability ratio, and that has not been submitted. So staff was asking for a continuance to the 20th, but I understand from the petitioner's representative that they would prefer that this go to the August 3rd hearing, and staff would have no objection to that hearing, this matter being heard on August the 3rd.
Thank you, Kathleen. Is there anyone else here who'd like to comment on this continuance? Counselor?
Thank you, President Dillon. Joe Calderon, 11 South Meridian, Indianapolis. I do represent the petitioner in this matter, and I did request that we move this to August 3rd when we were corresponding with Kathleen last week. I will, the simple fact is I'll be out of town on the 20th and can't make it till the 3rd. So we have notified the liaison with the nearby subdivision. Nobody seems to have any issue, at least on outside of staff and commission, with moving this.
Is this without notice, Joe?
Without notice.
Thank you very much. Members of the commission, in front of us is 2021-ZON125, 2022 VAR001. Commissioner Sum, can I get a motion to move those hearings to August 3rd without notice?
Aye, so moved.
Thank you. Commissioner Westbrook, can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Let me call the roll. Blackburn?
Blackburn, yes.
Bruns.
Bruns, yes.
Schumacher.
Schumacher, yes.
Selm.
Selm, aye.
Westrick.
Westrick, yes.
Dillon is an aye, passes 6-0. We'll hear that, Joe, on August 3rd. Thank you. Other continuances.
President Dillon, members of the commission, staff would draw your attention to 2022 ZON 034 located at 4915 Kessler Boulevard East Drive. Staff received an email from Councilor Boots yesterday afternoon requesting that this be continued to the August 3rd hearing to allow him to organize a meeting between the petitioner and their representative and the neighborhood. And this, again, would require a motion and a vote, and it would be to the August 3rd hearing.
Is that without notice?
That would be without additional notice.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here who'd like to comment on this? Counselor.
Yes, thank you, President Dillon. Misha Rabinowitz, offices at 1 Indiana Square. I represent the petitioner in this matter, and we're in agreement with Councilor Boots' request and ask that the matter be continued August 3rd.
Counselor, are there any other dolphin statues available for auction, or are those all done now?
I think they may be gone.
Huh. And that's all.
And they did not go cheap.
In front of us, members of the commission, is 2022 ZON 034, which has been asked to move to August 3rd without notice. Commissioner Westford, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Commissioner Schumacher, can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Let me call the roll. Blackburn.
Blackburn, yes.
Bruns.
Bruns, yes.
Schumacher.
Schumacher, yes.
Selm.
Selm, aye.
Westrick.
Westrick, yes.
Dillon is an aye. 2022 ZON 034 moves to August 3rd for your hearing. We'll see you then, Counselor. Other continuances, withdraw special requests.
Finally, President Dillon, members of the commission, staff would draw your attention to the last petition, 2022 ZON 044, located at 8320 West 86th Street. The petitioner's representative submitted an email withdrawing this, and this would just require your acknowledgement.
So acknowledged.
Thank you very much.
It's now withdrawn. We still have one left on the agenda for continuance, do we not, Mr. York?
Members of the commission, staff would draw your attention to 2022.
Mr. York, I can hear you better from the podium, sir.
You can't hear?
There you go. Now I can hear it.
Thank you. Turn your attention to 2022 VAC 022, or 002, excuse me, at 863 and 875 Massachusetts Avenue. The petitioner for this petition is requesting this case to be continued to your August 3rd hearing. That be without notice. The remonstrator on this petition has been notified and has no objection to that. The staff would support this request to be continued to your August 3rd hearing without notice.
Any questions for staff, Mr. York? In front of us is a request to move 2022 VAC 002 to the August 3rd meeting without notice. Commissioner Blackburn, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Bruns, can I get a second?
Bruns, second.
Let me call the roll. Blackburn.
Blackburn, yes.
Bruns.
Bruns, yes.
Schumacher.
Schumacher, yes.
Selm.
Selm, aye.
Westrick.
Westrick.
Dillon is an aye. 2022 VAC 002 moves to August 3rd without notice. 6-0. Any other continuances? Requests? Special requests? Seeing none. Nancy, can you read the remaining petitions of no appeals into the record? I think by my notes there are 2.
Thank you, President Dillon. I agree. Petitions of no appeals, petitions recommended for approval. First, we have 2022 ZON 058 at 722 East County Line Road and 8808 Shelby Street, Perry Township, Council District 23. 2022 ZON 064 at 6514 East Washington Street, Warren Township, Council District 12. This ends the reading of the no appeals docket.
Thank you. Before commission is 2022 ZON 058, 2022 ZON 064. I will accept a motion from Commissioner Selm to approve.
So moved.
Thank you. Commissioner Westford, can I get a second?
Second.
Let me call the roll. Blackburn.
Blackburn, yes.
Bruns.
Bruns, yes.
Schumacher.
Schumacher, yes.
Selm.
Selm, aye.
Westrick.
Westrick, yes.
Dillon is an aye. Both petitions of no appeals passed 6-0. That leads us to our one and only public hearing. Nancy, would you read that into the record for the minutes?
Yes, thank you again. We have one petition, rezoning petition scheduled for initial hearing, 2022 ZON 024 at 2657 and 2737 South Ritter Avenue and 5500 East Troy Avenue. Approximate addresses: Warren Township, Council District 18. Arbor Homes by Caitlin Dolfer, requesting a rezoning of 62.02 acres from the DA and D4FF districts to the DPFF district to allow for a subdivision with up to 220 single-family lots. Will all those intending to testify this afternoon please stand now and raise your right hand to be sworn in? All those that intend to speak, please identify yourself. Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury to tell the truth and nothing but the truth? Say, I do. I do. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. To everyone involved in 2022 ZON 024, let me walk you through the rules of engagement. First and most importantly, thank you all for being here. This is an important process. It's important to your neighborhood, and it is very important to us. Here's how this works. The petitioner will have 15 minutes to present their case. I will then go to the remonstrators, and I saw you had 3 that stood. Collectively, you have 15 minutes to present your case. Then I will go to staff to get their thoughts and recommendations. I'll go back to the petitioner as a rebuttal to any comments they hear from staff and or from remonstrators, and then the remonstrators will finish the last 5 minutes with their final thoughts. We stay strictly to those time frames. You'll be on the shot clock. The clock will go off when it's over, when your time's over, and I will rudely stop you and ask you to tell you that it's done, and thank you very much. So just be conscious of the fact, especially remonstrators, you get 15 minutes and then you get an extra 5. So if you don't get somebody in there, get them in that 5 minutes that comes back on rebuttal. Would you please introduce yourself? You've been duly sworn, have you not?
Yes.
Introduce yourself and your address. You're on the shot clock. Go.
Thank you for having me. My name is Caitlin Dofer, Director of Land Entitlement for Arbor Homes. Our address is 9225 Harrison Park Court.
Hold on one second. Nancy, hold the shot clock, please. Councilor Hart, how are you, sir? Fantastic. I didn't see you back there. I apologize very much. Thank you for being here. Are you on the... okay. So under our rules, petitioner, you'll get your 15. Remonstrators, you'll get your 15. And then counselor, I'll come to you for your own comments outside of that 15 minutes. Apologize I didn't catch you earlier. It's tough with this glass. Thank you, Commissioner Schumacher, for catching that. All right. You're on the shot clock. Go.
Thank you. What is the best way to forward the slides? Yep.
Please reintroduce yourself again. We got...
Sure. My name's Caitlin Dofer, Director of Land Entitlement for Arbor Homes. Thank you. Arbor Homes is a central Indiana builder for the last 28 years. The project that we would like to discuss tonight is located on the northeast corner of Ritter and Troy Avenue, just a little over 60 acres. It is adjacent to industrial uses to the southwest, as well as single-family residential uses around the other perimeters of the project. Existing land use or anticipated land use is suburban neighborhood with the industrial, as you can see in the purple, in the southwest, and other residential uses around it as well. The concept plan we are proposing, and this goes along with the DP request, we are anticipating 213 lots, both Arbor and Genesis products. Arbor, we are anticipating 114 lots, and Genesis is 99. Access to the project, we are going to have 2 entrances off of Ritter and then 1 entrance off of Troy. In total, we are anticipating 19 acres of open space, or a little over 30%. Amenities include a 1.2 mile long trail, playground, 3 picnic areas, 4.2 acres of natural landscaping, and then we are also adding sidewalks and landscaping along the street frontage. One of the products that we are proposing is our traditional single family, or our Arbor Homes product. In total, that includes 12 different floor plans with 5 elevations each. These floor plans are both single and 2-story, ranging from about 1,200 to 3,200 square feet. And those are just base floor plans. Options include sunrooms, flex spaces, and third-car garages, all of which would increase that square footage. Anticipated average sales price for this product is $325,000. And these are some examples of different architectural styles for the Arbor product. These include Craftsman, traditional, and Tudor. The other product, our Genesis product, is our newest one, and this was developed through market research, identifying that with rising land development costs, building costs, that we are leaving behind a substantial portion of home buyers, those being the first-time home buyers in those 200,000 range. So we've developed Genesis, and through economies of scale, we're able to get down that price point to the low to mid 200s. These homes are single-family, detached, situated around a shared motor court, and they come with fenced-in private backyards, attached 2-car garages, and low-maintenance landscaping, low maintenance of the shared motor court, and snow plowing. There are 5 different floor plans in the Genesis series with 5 elevations. These are 2 to 3-story floor plans, with the 3 stories still being under that 35-foot height maximum. Living areas range from a little over 1,100 square feet to 1,900 square feet. And as I mentioned, these are situated in branches. And here are some examples of the different architectural styles. And this just gives a breakdown of the proposed development standards that we are requesting. The site is currently zoned D4 and DA, so we have used D4 as a comparison with Arbor and Genesis lot sizes and setbacks as a comparison as well. Architectural standards proposed in the DP include a 1,400 square foot minimum home for Arbor and 1,100 square foot minimum home for Genesis. Vinyl will be permitted, and there is a .004 gauge minimum. There will be windows on all sides of the house that are adjacent to street or common area. Front elevation for the Arbor homes will be required to have 50% masonry or masonry wainscot with 2 siding styles. There is a garage door maximum for the front facade requirement, trim requirement, and all roofs will be dimensional or architectural grade shingles. At staff's request, we conducted a traffic study, and this was done after spring break. The traffic study, I believe, is included in the staff report, but looking at the intersections which were outlined by DPW, the traffic report came back with no improvements recommended on Ritter and Troy, and then Arlington and Troy, with access drive stop controlled for Ritter and the Troy entrances. And then our timeline to date, we filed this back in February, and since then we've worked with staff to make this project the best it could be. We've had our DP meeting, traffic study completed. We've met with Warren Township Development, Bierman Neighborhood Group, and then we've had an additional DMD staff meeting in June just to work out the project. In conclusion, we think this is a great development for the area. We think this is a good transitional use between the existing single family and then the industrial to the south. And with that, I will turn it over for questions.
Questions from commission members for Caitlin? Seeing none, we'll have you back.
Thank you.
Remonstrators, please come forward. Have all the remonstrators been duly sworn?
Yes.
Please introduce yourself and your address. Remonstrators are on the shot clock. Go.
Good afternoon. My name is Gary Blackwell. I live at 2432 South Ritter Avenue, And I want to thank you, Mr. President, other commission members and staff, and particularly all the neighbors that came out. My neighbors and I come before you today with close to 200 signatures, all from fellow residents who oppose this high-density development that will gravely affect our neighborhood in a number of ways. For one, given an average that there could be 2 cars per household and maybe more, this proposal will likely add 400 to 500 more cars on our streets. This will not only threaten the safety of the many residents who go on daily walks, but it will also cause additional traffic problems to those that already exist at the intersections of Arlington and Troy, as well as Ritter and Raymond. We also find it difficult to trust the results of the independent traffic study that Arbor Homes provided, which was done in less than 72 hours, during which time Emerson Avenue was closed, creating a detour through Ritter and Raymond. The study concluded that this intersection had illogical traffic movements and therefore could not be considered in the study. I'd like to repeat that. One of the major intersections that will be affected by hundreds of additional cars was not even validly studied. And at Arlington and Troy, left-hand turn lanes are long overdue, as traffic can back up over 500 feet when cars attempt to turn left. You see, the study only counts the cars. It doesn't paint the picture of what happens when a car is trying to turn left and how they back up with the countless semis. No one could seem to give me an answer as to just how many more cars it would have taken for the traffic study to conclude that improvements would be required at this intersection. Is it 50, 200, 500? No one seems to know. However, the consequence of adding a few hundred more cars that want to turn left would only a single traffic lane would be completely unjustified. I'm curious, therefore, how it is that when this property was initially zoned D4 in 2007, the commitments required the petitioner to contribute financially to make necessary improvements to the intersection of Arlington and Troy. So why would a traffic engineer from the DPW conclude that increased traffic caused by the development of this site require improvements to the intersection in 2007, but 15 years later, after more and more traffic is added, everything is fine? And a large portion of that, of what's been added, is semi-trucks. In addition to these problems, all of connection from Troy to Emerson, as well as southern to connection, are avoided by most of the residents because they are barely drivable and have been in need of repaving for decades. Our other concern is flooding. I have some of these out of order, I think. Yep, let me go back, sorry. Well, I'm missing that one. In the packet, and I apologize for not having more pictures, I've included pictures of the residents at Ritter and Southern who are currently experiencing flooding problems. Per FEMA report, it's already been previously determined that this property is in fact a regular flood zone area. As I said, many of the residents are already experiencing problems, and by adding high-density housing with driveways and streets, it will only create more runoff and increase flooding, which could likely cause our septic systems to back up. The quick answer is normally retention ponds, but digging massive holes could have an impact on the water table, which could then affect the wells that most of our homes rely on. This has in fact been known to occur in surrounding communities. We have approximately 2 acres of combined wetlands in this area. They not only filter and purify the water table for our wells, but these 62 acres are also home to a wide variety of wildlife, including red fox, white-tailed deer, and red-tailed hawks, just to name a few. Arbor Homes was asked about these wetlands in the neighborhood meeting, and they indicated that they would not likely preserve them, but instead pay DNR a fine. The plot also shows that they will spare very few of the trees, of which was cited in the original zoning of this property that the majority of the trees would be preserved. In that same neighborhood meeting, After Arbor Homes made their presentation and heard our concerns, I asked the representative where we stood on negotiating with them. Basically, their reply was that they weren't there to negotiate, and if they didn't get it the way that it's proposed, they'd walk from it. And this was followed by, and I quote, "But we're not trying to shove this down your throat." And yet this is exactly how we feel. And this is where the problem lies. The type of homes being proposed here don't follow the comprehensive plan for our county, nor are they even close comparison to any of the existing homes in the immediate area. For example, the adjoining property to the east, is on 12 acres. This is immediately to the east of the proposed property. 12 acres and 7,200 feet of living space. The homes immediately to the north are all Zone D2 and have a minimum of half an acre of land, while still other homes are D1 and D3 with anywhere from 3 to 4 acres per lot. A vast majority of the existing houses have well over 1,500 square feet of living space and are 100% brick. Arbor Homes is only proposing 50% brick, and yet in 2007, the agreement called for 80%. There's just a few homes on Southern that I wanted to show you. This is some of the homes on Southern. Here's a shot of one of those houses. Most of the residents have lived in this neighborhood for over 30 years, while others have bought their homes with the confidence of knowing that this land was already zoned D4. So to put problematic transitional homes in this proximity is unfair to these residents who hold such high stakes in the neighborhood. The most recent continuance called for by the petitioner appeared to have been only to move some of the cluster homes around on the site plan. Which I assume was at the request of staff. But yet in the attached statement, it says they can be located anywhere, basically back to their original plan. The cluster homes seem to be by far one of the biggest non-negotiables on either side. Eliminating them from the plan and putting in lower density houses throughout would not only help reduce the amount of traffic, but larger lot sizes would also help reduce and control the runoff. As a retired captain with 35 years on the Indianapolis Fire Department, it's in my professional opinion that this type of cluster housing would be among the most difficult type of single residence fire to fight. One reason being that they are only 10 feet apart, and being 3 stories in height, the chance of the fire spreading to multiple units is very likely. Another problem is limited access for the fire trucks. On a typical report of a residence fire, IFD sends 3 engines, 2 ladder trucks, and at least 5 or more support vehicles. With this cluster design, it becomes nearly impossible to get the apparatus close enough to be fully effective. As you can see on the map here, oops, sorry. And given the fact that most people no longer park in their garage, this puts at least 2 vehicles in the driveway, and any guest among the clustered homes are going to park in what little street area remains. In addition, many of the clusters are backed up to a retention pond, which compounds the access problem even more. A known fact in the fire service is that a fire doubles in size every minute, and the closest fire station is in Beech Grove. That fire engine recently had an 8-minute response time to the 5800 block of Troy less than 2 weeks ago for an EMS run. It's also the 5th busiest engine in the entire county, which means its chance of being available when needed is less likely. So if it's on another call, the next closest stations are nearly 3.5 miles away, also with approximate 8-minute response times. In closing, this is not the appropriate area for cluster homes. We do have industrial to the south of it, but we're on our own island. They don't have access to our neighborhood. The southern portion of this land has already been zoned D4, and many of these same neighbors here today were standing in this very room fighting for this in 2007. It's unfair for us to have to come back and defend what had already been fought for and decided on. Therefore, the Bierman Neighborhood Group, along with the Warren Township Development Association and City County Councilor Michael Paul Hart have all expressed opposition to this Genesis housing proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blackwell. Who else is coming up? Any other remonstrators going to speak? Yes, sir. Please introduce yourself and your address.
Eddie Hager, 2839 South Pasadena Street.
I missed your name. I'm sorry.
Eddie Hager,
Thank you, Eddie.
Hager. I live just east of the proposed development, and I use this area to go to downtown to my job and to move throughout the neighborhood to avoid the busy intersection that I live up against. So I see this neighborhood every day. I see people walking through it every day. The one thing that I wanted to concentrate on was the actual farmland itself. I have 35 years of farming. I'm an agronomist, plant pathologist, and land management. The one thing that I noticed that the proposed development didn't address was the study that was done by the preliminary plat review report that was submitted to them in November of 2001. And there's multiple issues that was addressed within reference to the keeping of trees, the flooding to the north, and then the waterway and the water, I don't know how to submit that, but it was supposed to be part of the proposal, but it wasn't in the proposal. And you can see that they built right through the middle of it. They didn't take any consideration of the existing waterways that are already there. They didn't take into consideration any of the existing historic field tile that is in on the property. What this will do is it will not only back up water, it will divert water again because it's hard surfaces that you're building on the land. And that hard surfaces is going to divert land even into the ditches. Even if they do build engineered ponds, they build engineered drains, there's no plan to address the property to the west, and there's nothing to address the property to the east within reference to water coming into the property. And so I would ask that this be turned down because they have not taken this into consideration. And there's already flooding, historic flooding in the area to the north and to the west of existing property owners. They have taken issues to try to address that drainage. But now this property will only multiply that issue within reference to the flooding. I think it needs to go back, it needs to be turned down because Arbor Homes didn't take into consideration the existing flooding that's in the area and then the existing flooding or the flooding that could potentially happen in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. Any other remonstrators while you have time? Nancy, how much time we have? We have 2 minutes left. You're good? Thank you. You'll have 5 minutes for rebuttal. We'll come back to you. Kathleen, is this yours? Who we got? Keith?
This is mine.
Thank you, Keith. Let's go to staff. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Counselor, I keep forgetting you, man. Come on up. Counselor, before you start, just a quick thank you. You've always been very supportive of DMD and the Metropolitan Development Commission, and we appreciate you being here today.
Absolutely. Thank you. So,
you're on.
I appreciate the time and everybody's dedication to being on here. I know it's a lot of work being on boards, and you have a lot of large decisions to make. The first thing I want to point out is how close I actually live to this development. I actually use this road to exercise on in the mornings. I live about a quarter mile away. And so I'm very, very, very familiar with the area, and as well as the remonstrators. They've been a great group of folks to work with. They've been very professional about their dealings with Arbor Homes and the communications going forward. It's been one of the best experiences I've had working with a group as counselor. And Arbor Homes, in the same like, has always been nice to work with. However, I do have to disagree with Arbor Homes in this particular case, specifically when it comes to their statement of the first-time home buyers and providing homes in the mid-200s. So one of the things I want to call out, just to the north of us, northeast on Midhofer, Arbor Homes is actually developing a property with homes in the 200s, or a very large set of homes just on Rawls and Midhofer. And I heard the comment from the petitioners that they are trying to provide affordable options. And this is something that came up when we were talking in the community group, and I addressed it then with them that no home builder is in the business of benevolence. They are in the business to make money. And with the Genesis plans, they're able to put more houses on a lot than they are with their other style houses. So effectively, they can get 4 houses per lot versus 1 house per lot. So you're looking at $800,000 plus in revenue versus $300,000. So this isn't about, from my perspective, trying to provide affordable houses. This is trying to generate more revenue for their company. So please keep that in mind when looking at the density. Another portion when it comes to density, I have to agree with the remonstrators. The proposed plan does not fit what is already in this area. In the area, every home that you would walk by or run by or drive by are very large, beautiful. They're estates more than they are just home lots. So building high density housing is going to completely stick out from the current development that's in that land. Additionally, I have to disagree with the traffic study, specifically when it talks about Ritter and Troy. Ritter and Troy there's one lane in every direction, north, south, east, and west. And again, agreeing with remonstrators, if one car wants to take a left turn on either one of those roads, you back up a dozen cars just from one light. It is a bad situation, and adding additional vehicles by having additional homes there is going to cause an issue, specifically the high density housing. I also have to respect the remonstrators and his experience as a fireman and a chief on the Indianapolis Fire Department and his understanding for safety. This weekend alone, we just had probably one of the busiest runs on IFD, with it being the 4th of July, and creating an atmosphere where it would make the safety of others and make it harder on IFD because of the development style just doesn't sit comfortably with me, and knowing that I would approve that in my district. So again, I have to oppose the Genesis style housing because of that as well. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I know Arbor, they're a great builder. They do a lot of great things for Marion County, but I just don't think this is the right place for this type of development, and I have to oppose. So thank you for your time.
Any questions for Councilor Hart? Once again, thank you for being here, and thank you for being supportive of the MDC. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, Keith, you're up.
All right. The petition we're looking at today is a request to go to the DP district. The DP standing for dwelling planned. DPs ideally should be for proposals that are in some way creative or different, and not just a typical development. If it's a typical development, it should be in one of the number districts. What's unique about this one are the Genesis homes, which are the motor courts. So they are 4 to 10 homes that are on a shared driveway. This is going to be a unique project or product here in Marion County. We've not seen many of these at all in Marion County or even in central Indiana. And as such, it took a lot of convincing by the petitioner of staff. We have gone back and forth with the petitioner for 5 months trying to get this project into a shape that we felt like we could recommend approval of it to the commission. It does meet the comprehensive plan. Comprehensive plan for this site is suburban neighborhood, which recommends a density of 1 to 5 units per acre, and this comes in at 3.5 units per acre. Now, as originally submitted to us, the 2 types of homes were separate. So the larger homes are on the northern 2/3 of the site, the smaller lots on the southern third of the site. This created quite a differential and really made them seem like 2 neighborhoods. They have since mixed those together. We think that that's good land use planning. We also think that that's good for equity, and that you are not putting all the smaller homes all in one place and near the industrial site. And by mixing them, then I believe that the 3.5 units per acre is a reasonable way to talk about the density of the site. 3.5 units per acre is not a high-density development. The commission is used to seeing ones that are 15, 20, 30, 50, 100 units per acre. So 3.5 is not high density. It is higher density than what you see surrounding it. As we've worked with the developers over time, they have made adjustments to the street layout, the location of the motor courts. They've added trails. The site has already the design for the site has always had a significant amount of open space, and they've worked with us to arrange that in a way that we thought was most functional. We talked about the sidewalks. We have heard about the fire safety. The ordinance did used to require that there was a 10-foot separation between buildings. That was taken out of the zoning ordinance, but this project still has that. They're still showing that. The fire safety is now in the building code rather than in the zoning code, just for your information. After all the changes that Arbor had made over time, staff has come to a place where we believe that we can recommend approval of this to you, and I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Keith. Questions for Keith from members of the commission?
Keith, the revised plan has been submitted. Does that meet all the requirements for sidewalks? And then I know we used this word in the past, connectivity, connecting this to other outlets.
So that the plan, I realize that in your staff report it's small and hard to see, but they are showing sidewalks along the perimeter streets, which is required, also along the main streets within the development. So they are showing the sidewalks as would be required by the ordinance. Then they also have, as you can see in the drawing, the red lines, they have added a trail system to this as well. Now, a certain amount of trail system is required by the ordinance, but they have exceeded that. And we did work with them to make sure that that trail system not only did a good job of looping through the project, but actually went out to meet the sidewalks along the street so that it becomes, you have more options when you want to go out for a walk. You have more ways to loop around and becomes more connected to the neighborhood. Now, the neighborhood is not one that has a lot of sidewalks, but it's, we feel it's always important to get them where and when we can.
Other questions? Keith, I walked the property, and you're kind of, first of all, I appreciate your hard work, and I know you've been busting it lately. Thank you very much. A unique product, which I'm glad to hear because I can't see what we're doing here on the property. Where else is this product used? What, I mean, is it in Chicago? Is it in New York? Is it in Kokomo? I mean,
the petitioner has told us that they're a national company. They originally did this in Colorado. They've done it in several other places.
Colorado being Denver, Colorado Springs. Doubt if it's in Aspen. Where is it?
You should ask the petitioner when she comes up back up.
I'm sorry, I'm blanking.
Thank you. That's fine. We'll ask when she come up.
Yeah. What they have shared with us is that they have learned from the places where they have put it in and have made changes to this to accommodate that. One of the examples being that as originally built, they had a 6-foot apron on their garage. Well, you can't park a car in a 6-foot apron, and so they are showing a 20-foot apron on the one here for Indianapolis where you can park a car there. That should get the cars off the streets and make it easier to get in and out, which is important when you've got 4 to 10 homes sharing a driveway. You want to be able to get past your neighbor's car to get in and out. So we appreciate that they have made that provision in their development statement.
I also am interested, building code will address fire issues. Zoning code does not, correct?
We recently made that change to the zoning ordinance, correct?
When did we do that? Help me out.
That was in 2020. It was with the, I'm blanking, I'm sorry, the transit-oriented development update.
Mr. Pleasant, would you and I talk about that after the meeting, please? I was impressed, and I want your gut reaction to Mr. Blackwell's comments on fire safety and the ability of trucks to get in and out. I get the zoning code. I get what you're saying on the building code. I want your gut.
That was something that we had some concerns about when we initially looked at this. This information was supplied to the fire department. We did not get a response from them. We did get a response from the garbage collection folks, and they worked that out. But I don't feel like I'm necessarily the most qualified person to talk about whether you can get a fire truck in there or not.
Thank you. Final questions for staff? Petitioner, you have 5 minutes for rebuttal, and I'm interested in knowing where this unique building setup is located.
Sure, thank you. I'll start off by answering that question. So our sister company, Oakwood Homes, developed this product in Denver, Colorado. They've successfully built that, and they developed that because they recognized the need for more attainable housing in Denver, Colorado. It's a very expensive market. Housing prices have continued to increase and climb, very much like Indianapolis. And so that is why that product was developed here. And as a sister company, we were able to take over that product here, adapt it for the Indianapolis market, and make changes to the driveway lengths, like Keith mentioned, creating larger backyards then, or larger front yards, more green space in those clusters. So we do feel like it's a good fit for the Indianapolis market. We've also had the product approved in Columbus, Indiana, and Lebanon, Indiana, and we are in the platting process for those as well. Both of those communities were very excited by the product and saw the need for it as well. Just to back up a little bit and talk about, the need for housing, Arbor Homes was originally created because our founder, Curtis Rector, saw that home ownership was the best way to build wealth in this country, and it still is, even 28 years later. As home prices have continued to increase, building costs have increased, we're leaving a large portion of home buyers behind. And it's harder and harder to become a homeowner today. And so that's why we really do feel that there's a strong need for Genesis to get back to the 200,000s, which is what Genesis is going to accomplish. And just for reference, our traditional Arbor product, which is also part of this project, just 5 years ago, the average price was $175. Today, we're in the 300s. So there really is a need for getting back to that 200 price point. A lot of our neighbors mentioned that this area is used to exercise, for walkability, and while, yes, this project is higher density, with that comes 19 acres of open space, trails, sidewalks that are going to create an even safer experience to walk along Ritter and Troy, or to run or bike. And we do think that would be a great benefit to the community. The phrase problematic transitional homes was mentioned. I do understand that this is higher density than some of the homes in the surrounding area, but with the price point being in the 300s and 200s, I do have a hard time seeing how that would be a problematic transition compared to other homes in the area. Accounting for flooding, before we even start the concept plan process, our engineers look at the property and see where the water naturally wants to go. So they are aware of the floodway. We have preserved the existing creek and worked around that. We have natural landscaping around it too. So we do not expect flooding to get any worse. In fact, by law, we are required to not have a detrimental impact to neighbors through flooding. And then as for the traffic study, I'm not a traffic engineer, so I can't comment on it. We had professional traffic engineers, A&F, do the traffic study, and it was reviewed by DPW, who had no comments or questions on it. So I would just refer back to the professional traffic engineers and what their opinion was on that. Other than that, happy to answer any questions.
Final questions for the petitioner? Hearing none. Remonstrators, you have 5 minutes. Mr. Blackwell?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, forgot to acknowledge Councilor Hart for being here, so thank you. This is one of the pictures missing from the slide. It's pictures of the flooding. I apologize I didn't have more packets for each of you, but this is at Ritter and Southern. It's standing water, and we, for one, don't think they can control the flooding. We probably wouldn't feel comfortable not being a member of that neighborhood to use their trail system. We don't have sidewalks on Ritter as it is, so just getting from A to B with added traffic would be more of a problem for us, given the fact that we don't have sidewalks now. You know, I can't say it enough that if you put 10 of these clusters in a court, it's going to lead to problems. 3 stories high, 10 feet apart. My experience is that you're going to burn a lot of them, and I don't know how they can meet the comprehensive plan if you're going to stick 10 here and 10 right next to it and 10 right next to it. It just doesn't add up. And again, they're moving them around from one plan to another. Their previous plan had them all in the south. Their statement that goes with the most recent plan says that they can move them anywhere they want. They can move any of the houses, any of the clusters, wherever they want to. I don't know that I've got anything else that hasn't been said, so thank you very much.
Final questions for remonstrators? Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you,
Blackwell.
sir. Thank you.
Councilor Hart, do you have any closing comments?
I think the remonstrators.
Oh, if we have more, we have somebody else coming forward, that's fine. How much time is left, Nance? Okay, you got time, Eddie. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Please reintroduce yourself.
Eddie Hager, 2839 South Pasadena. The outstanding thing that I'm sitting here going through my mind and listening to the educators, the designers, you guys are having to listen to them as you don't have all the answers. You don't have all the solutions. One thing that stuck out to me the most is that he's been working with them for 5 months and he's been working with these people, none. This is who it impacts. It doesn't impact her, it impacts these people. I don't understand why we have a planner that's working with the developer and getting answers from what they want instead of getting answers from what these people want that are going to be impacted. The other thing that I kept seeing stick out was you're not addressing anything away from this development. You're going to put sidewalks along the street. You're a mile from the next sidewalk. So you're going to encourage people to use the street sidewalk. Where do they go? They can't go east, they can't go west, and they can't go north. There's no sidewalks. So that's a moot point. The other thing that I didn't understand within reference to working for 5 months with this developer, and they still allowed them to build right in the middle of the floodplain, the waterway that's determined by Marion counties. This isn't my report. It's the Marion County Soil and Water Conservation District. They recommended the preservation of trees. They recommended addressing the flooding that's going on to the north end of the project. None of that has been addressed. In this report, I counted 9 different things that needed to be addressed that the developer didn't address. So I think even though you spent 5 months respectively, I think you need to go back to the drawing board and you need to listen to the community. Thank you.
Blackwell, come on up.
Thank you, sir. Gary Blackwell. I just wanted to say that given the fact that these aren't anywhere in our city yet, if you look at the map or the pictures of our houses that are already there, as Councilor Hart said, we have estate homes practically on some of our lots. We don't want to be the guinea pig for this proposal. Please consider that because they're nowhere in our area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Looks like remonstrators are done. Is that correct? Councilor Hart, please give us your final comments.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Gary actually just said what I was actually about to say in terms of, just to be frank, I, as the district counselor in 18, don't want to take the gamble on this being us being the guinea pig for this type of development. You know, this style looks like something that would be, you know, better fitted in a more dense area. And, you know, not to be too specific because I don't want to say it's meant for that, but there are other areas in Marion County that are going to be more urban than what this type of area is. So honestly, you know, the 200 people that signed this petition are actual signatures. I know for a fact that Gary went around to every single door and talked to these folks, and those 200 people and myself are not comfortable with this type of development in the area. And when we talk about plans and high density, you know, what a plan has and what is actually there are two completely different things. And I think, Mr. President, you said you walked the area and you could see for yourself that they were very open, very large plots of land, and building this, just because not in the plan doesn't mean that it doesn't match, right? And these clearly don't match. When it comes to professional traffic engineers, don't need to be a professional traffic engineer to look at a street and say that, hey, look, you know, adding more cars here is going to make this a whole lot worse. And for connectivity, you know, I heard that from, you know, one of the commissioners. You know, to the north, you have Raymond Street, and it is a high traffic area. To the east, you have more residential. To the south, you have industrial, and to the west, you have rail. There's no walking to anything in these types of areas. So putting in, you know, there's no Kroger's around. There's a dollar store maybe a mile away, but there's no parks to walk to. There's nothing that you can walk to in this area, so it's not connected to anything. It is surrounded by railroad, salt storage, and that's it. So, you know, in closing, this development, I'm sure, you know, might work well in other places, but it won't work well here. So thank you for your time.
Any final questions for Councilor Hart? Thank you, Councilor, once again for being here. One quick note as we go to our ballots. The reason staff goes for 5 months, Eddie, is the fact that they are concerned about the community, and I know this planner in particular, I'm sure he had in his opinion, he had his best outlook trying to help the community. So that's a little tough statement you made, and I want to defend our planning section if I might. Members of the commission, please go to your ballots. They're in your blue folders.
Petition number 2022-ZON-024, Arbor Homes. There were 6 ballots cast, 5 no votes, and 1 yes vote. This petition has been denied.
Members from the Arbor Group, would you please get the information to staff on Lebanon and Columbus? I'd like to go down and take a look at those myself and get more of a feel for this product, because I don't have that feel at this point in time. And it's hard to refute, why are we first? It's hard to refute, does this fit? I want to go take a look at it myself and understand it. Councilor Hart, thank you for being here. And once again, this commission and the DMD is very appreciative of your hard work is for the city and your support of our group. Thank you, sir. That concludes our commission meeting today. To members of the commission, it's tough being here on July 6th. I know some of you even moved your vacations to be here. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, please be careful going home. We are now concluded. Thank you.